A new study of over 2 million children found no link between the MMR vaccine before age 2 and autism. We have been saying this for decades. Why do we keep doing these studies? A national retrospective cohort study published through CIDRAP has found no association between receiving the MMR vaccine before age 2 and an autism diagnosis. This is the largest study of its kind to date, examining the records of over 2.5 million children. The research team was led by scientists at the University of Washington. Their findings reinforce what decades of prior research have already shown. The MMR vaccine given in early childhood does not cause autism. The study was published in the context of ongoing public debate, and its sheer scale makes it one of the most definitive pieces of evidence yet on this topic. The researchers used the Cosmos electronic health record database, which includes linked birth and parent data, for over 2.56 million US children. They followed these children until age 8, or their last doctor appointment before the study end date. The key analysis focused on children who received their first MMR vaccine dose between 11.5 and 24 months of age. They calculated adjusted hazard ratios for autism diagnosis to account for factors like healthcare utilization patterns and neurodevelopmental concerns that could introduce bias. By using pre-specified age-based landmark analyses, they minimized the risk that kids who were already showing early signs of autism were simply getting vaccinated later, which could create a false association. This study comes at a critical moment. According to the CDC, the United States is experiencing a record-breaking year for measles, with 2,371 cases reported so far. 93% of those infections occurred in unvaccinated people. This is the highest number of measles cases since 1991. With measles on the rise, the question of whether the MMR vaccine is safe in early childhood has moved from academic debate to public health urgency. Every parent wondering if giving the MMR vaccine before age 2 could harm their child now has one of the most comprehensive studies available to guide their decision. On the political side of this story, Secretary of Health and Human Services Robert F. Kennedy Jr. made headlines in an interview with CNN. He said he has never questioned the efficacy of the MMR vaccine itself and that it stops measles in about 97% of cases. He also encouraged parents to vaccinate their children against measles. However, the broader context is that Kennedy previously claimed that none of the 8 vaccines administered during the first 6 months of life have ever been studied for their relationship to autism. As one commenter on the original Science subreddit post pointed out, what was referenced in that interview was specifically about the MMR vaccine ingredient, not the vaccine as a whole. This distinction matters because the current study does not directly address the timing of the first 6 months of life that Kennedy raised as a concern. The reaction on Reddit was predictably polarized. One commenter noted that this is not a suggestion, but adds even more evidence, pointing out that study after study has never found a link with the exception of the famously fraudulent one. Another commenter was more blunt, saying they can do 1 million studies, but no amount of anything will convince the stubborn. A third quoted the classic line that you cannot reason someone out of an opinion they did not reason themselves into. One commenter called it literally the largest vaccine study ever done with something like 2 million participants, noting that this was determined years ago, yet we keep doing it ad nauseum, because some person lied and the grifters all bought it. Another raised the irony that government agencies now claim it is impossible to say vaccines do not cause autism because they have never proven it as a negative, even as they continue to produce studies showing no link. Here is the deeper irony at play. This study is not the first to find no link between the MMR vaccine and autism. It is not even the 20th. Multiple large studies across different countries and populations have all arrived at the same conclusion, yet each new study gets headline coverage because the baseline belief among a significant portion of the public has not shifted. As one commenter wryly noted on Reddit, the abstract could have been written by anyone who has ever stuck their hands in a lake and concluded that water is wet. The study is scientifically sound, the methodology is rigorous, and the sample size is impressive. But the real question it raises is why we keep needing to prove the same thing over and over again. So what does this mean for parents? The evidence is now overwhelming and consistent. The MMR vaccine given before age 2 has been studied in populations of over 2 million children, and no link to autism has been found. The measles outbreak happening right now in the United States makes this not just an academic question, but a practical one. With 2,371 cases and 93% in unvaccinated people, the risk of measles is real and immediate. The MMR vaccine is proven to be safe and effective. What is not proven is whether decades of repetitive studies will eventually change public perception. That may be the harder question to answer. Thanks for watching Orbit Reports. If you found this breakdown useful, hit subscribe for more science news explained clearly. The full study from the University of Washington and the CIDRAP article are linked in the description below. Let me know in the comments what you think about the state of vaccine research and public perception. See you in the next one. Thanks for watching Orbit Reports. Subscribe for more science news explained clearly. The full study and source article are linked below. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next one.